Okay.
Yay. Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ready to Talk podcast. I'm the host, Trixie, aka the Thoughtful Beast. Today I'm here with Guernica D. Williams. We're going to talk about her project called iChangeTheNarrative, which I'm really excited to talk about. Before we go there, I do want to point out the scrolling bar below, where if you are able to, please make a donation to D.D. McClure's SD Bailout. That's San Diego's local bailout fund. Remember that even though the media is not showing all the protests going on, they're still going on. So there's still a need to fund our bailout programs. And then you'll see Guernica's website down there scrolling, After Six Media LLC. So please make sure you check that out as well. And before we get started, Guernica, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thank you so much for inviting me. I am the CEO and principal consultant for After Six Media LLC, which is a public relations, content creation, branding firm. We do a plethora of projects for television, film, all the social media platforms, and we do a lot of public relations for our different clients. So that's what After Six Media is about. It is a firm that stands on excellence. It's a firm that is able to make those connections for clients, make connections for clients that they're not normally able to connect to media companies, other media platforms. We also have a professional background in some literary involvement. We do a lot of editing of scripts, editing of books. We even do editing of dissertations and things of that nature. So we're well versed in that area as well.
Yay!
You want me to? Oh, was I supposed to talk about my project?
Yeah. Oh, we're going to get to that right now.
Okay, good. Okay.
Hold on. My internet is a little slow, so I'm just going to tag After Six Media LLC. I don't know why my thing's being so slow. But yes, yay, thank you for that introduction.
No problem.
I also would love to ask you a little more about why you started your company. So yeah, really, why did you start After Six Media?
Well, I started After Six Media because, first of all, let me give you the backstory of it. I was a theater major at Howard University in Washington, D.C., and I had acting aspirations. I had directing aspirations, anything media, I was deeply entrenched in all of that. And out of that, I became a teacher, an English teacher for 16 years. And I was making my students write college essays because that was the expectation. I would take their papers home. I would notice that I was beginning to edit their papers. And it was then when I started teaching that I thought maybe I should consider editing and writing. And from there, I wrote curriculum and wrote some training manuals for Johns Hopkins University, their Center for Social Organizations of Schools or something like. I forget the acronym. What does it stand for? Because they're no longer in business. But from there, I was recruited. Someone noticed my writing and asked me, would I write for their magazine? And I said yes. They found a gentleman who is an African-American sailor that was going to enter a solo race. And they asked me to write his story. And I wrote his story and submitted it to a couple of newspapers, pitched his story to other media platforms. And from there, that writing began to gain some traction. I was like, oh, there's something to this. And from there, things became successful with him. And then I got another client. Someone recommended me, Tia Norfleet. She is licensed by NASCAR. And I wrote up a couple pitches for her for media platforms. And from there, it with those two, Donald Lawson and Tia Norfleet, it just took on a whole new level for me and gave me another perspective. And I really enjoyed what I was doing. I felt that I had a gift for pitching. I had a gift for writing. Then I went on to grad school, and that just sparked, some other passions in me as far as writing is concerned, ghostwriting and things of that nature. So that's how After Six came to be. I was first. I worked for another agency, and then I felt like I needed to do this for myself and make money for myself. And
Yes.
that's when, in 2012, that's when I decided to start my own company, After Six Media LLC.
Yes, that's so awesome, especially like how great that you recognize like how powerful your work was.
Right.
Like, how capable, like you're like, dude, I can do this myself, and that's awesome.
Right. I always knew it. My mother, when I was a child, my mother would make me write a lot, make me read a lot. So that's really where it all started. I used to read a lot when I was younger, maybe about fifth grade. It really started there. So I think that's when it all started and just started to click, because I think about that now, and it's just amazing how things, I didn't become an actor. However, I'm still in the business. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with writing scripts. I write scripts. I write public service announcements. So I'm still, to me, flowing in the field, just not as an actor, but as, a producer, as a writer, as a content creator. So I am pleased with, the way things are going and where they're headed.
I'm glad. Like, writing is hard. Producing is hard. Like, those things are difficult. Like, I don't even feel that people realize how hard content creation is. Like, in terms of like how much work.
It is very, very challenging, because you have to deal with, how can I get this message out to my audience and keep their attention? And it's all about storytelling. And you have to tell stories in the right way these days. You have to grab their attention. So it is challenging. It is challenging.
Yeah. Well, it's cool that you have your own business. Yay! Mm-hmm. Yay, business owner! That's awesome.
Thank you.
And thank you for that background into
no problem.
Your company. That's awesome. Yeah. And so please tell us about this project of yours, iChangeTheNarrative.
Okay. So my project began in 2015. Well, actually 2016. I started grad school in 2015 at Penn State University. Communications, strategic communications was the focus. And, my professor, the first year, he said that we should begin thinking about what we wanted to explore for our thesis. He gave us two options: thesis or a thesis project. I chose the thesis project. He said that was the hardest to do, but I chose that because I am a creative, and for us to create, to me, is just, it's a challenge that we're up for, that we like, that we enjoy. So I chose iChangeTheNarrative. We were studying the media, and I felt like I wanted to do something that I can relate to, that sparks a passion within and something that hits home. Since I do have a son, I chose to do a project that was based around empowering males, Black males. Um, we did several studies, in-depth studies of, how Blacks are portrayed in the media, specifically Black males. And I wasn't pleased with who was telling our stories, who was telling the African American male story. And after studying a couple of theorists, one theorist said that in order for these stories to be told truthfully, then we must tell them ourselves. And that I had to sit on that for a second, for a while, because I felt like it was so true that we are the ones, as African Americans, we're the ones to tell our own stories. If we want it told truthfully, and of course, I did a whole bunch of research to demonstrate how Black males from the 14th century were portrayed in media. And I saw how those images grew. And the image started off as African American males being portrayed, or they were looked upon as apes. So one of the projects that I did for my thesis is I took an African American male and I took the symbol of the ape, and I put the face together, and I had it started off as an ape and revolved into a Black male. And I said, basically in the PSA that we have to change these narratives. We have to represent the stories by us, for us, about us. So this campaign, I Change the Narrative, is a campaign that empowers Black males. It also uplifts Black males and provides different images in the media, for the media, of our Black males. They're positive images that have a great effect if we push those stories. We have to do away with the old images and bring in new images and keep pushing those stories until the perspectives of people change. Of course, is it going to solve anything? No, it may not solve, many things, but we can begin to change how we're viewed in the media. We can begin to change how we're viewed on the job. We can begin to see African American males as in a different light in several sectors of the industry and just all over. So is it the answer? I'm hoping that it would be the answer, but of course there's always that group or that one that just, will not let go of those negative images from the past. So
yeah. Yes. Unfortunately, that is really true. But I mean, I love it because it's so, because you work in all
mm-hmm.
you work in the business,
yeah.
And it's just I talk about this a lot in the past, but just growing up watching TV as a kid,
mm-hmm.
Where did you see Black men?
Exactly.
You saw them as the gangsters and thugs. You saw them as the images that were directly against the police.
Yes.
And I bring this up a lot because I literally just rewatched Charmed. Mm-hmm. But in Charmed, that's how they were shown. And that's a lot mm-hmm. of 90s TV. Go look at it. Go watch old things and see how they did not age well. And they definitely portrayed a specific narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just even, growing up, I didn't think I didn't outwardly little me be Black people are bad. Black
Right.
people are dangerous. But the thing is, like, when those images, that same image keeps coming up, it's like
Yeah.
advertisement, right?
Yes.
Advertisement works because it works on like the fact that it's over and over and over again.
Right.
And then it
Right.
gets in your head. And I'm like, well, same thing with people, though, and how people are portrayed, especially if you don't have, like, if you're not exposed to Black people around you, if you're not exposed to Asian people around you, gay people around you,
Yes.
what do you have left? You have the media.
Yes.
Like, so it sounds really exciting. Where do you put your, I guess I have multiple questions. Where do you put your images? Like, how do you go about this? Are these like different PSAs that go out? Do you find, is it like an ongoing project?
This is an ongoing social campaign. There are 3 videos out now on YouTube. And you can just, it's under iChangeTheNarrative, all one word. And people can see the videos there. However, since we are in this time that we are in, I'm unable to do any shooting at this time because I think that I've put a lot of energy into writing the scripts as well as putting the concepts together for these videos. So right now we're at a still, but I have some other ideas on how to promote iChangeTheNarrative. So you all can look forward to that real soon. I'm in the planning stages right now. So
that's awesome. And again, like it's really smart. Like, especially with like how the world is now, like
yes.
Media, if you don't know that media has a big effect on you, like, I'm telling you now, it does. Yeah, exactly. Right. It just does. Again, just like advertisements, if you see the same stories, like, if you see the same stories, even like reading like books, right? I think about it a lot because as a child, I also read a lot. And the fact that a lot of the time, the protagonist was a young white man. Like so many stories where the protagonist is a young white man, not even like a young white girl. Like, it's like the farthest that it could be from me. And I'm like reading all these stories because I love fantasy. Like, I love sci-fi. I love all these different things. But like, yeah, that's it. That's what I was like introduced to. That's like a lot of what I knew for a long time. And then the other half of that introduced me to everything else was TV. But even then, a lot of the time it's just like, who are these stories for? Who are they about? Like, who are they centering? Who are the people who are only there in the background? You know, like, token is a word because you could see it like on TV. There's that random like Black person in the background in the office. There's a random like Asian way back there in the grocery store, you know. And it's so great that things are changing, but we definitely have a long way to go.
Yes, we do have a long way to go, but you hit everything that I did that I had to address in my paper. The token, the great white savior. I looked at what is it? I forget what movie it was that I used in the paper. It was so long ago. However, it was one of the movies with the ape and Jane. That's her character. I forget the movie that I used for my paper, but he was looked at as the great white hope when that wasn't really true. The scientist that was with him, you know, helped to, you know, save a group of people. So, you know, we just have to continue as Blacks. We need to continue to push our agenda as far as promoting positive images of Black males. That's one of our agendas. That's, to me, is very important for our community.
Yeah, I think that's very clear why, especially when you look at like what's happening today.
Yeah.
Like, just look around and open your eyes and, you know,
right.
I love that you're doing that. I love that it's like media based, especially like you said right earlier, stories, like people's stories, like that's how we connect. Like that's how we like humanize each other and ourselves. Like our stories. And it's so important. And I really I want to watch your stuff now. But until then, like until I do that after this, like it's just I don't know, it's really cool. And like so you started this in 2016, right?
2015 is when I started with the idea. I really had to develop the idea starting in 2016. So because I started grad school in 2015, August 2015. So 2016 is when I had to start developing the idea, doing more research, and just plugging away at where I wanted to go with this project. And that was, one of the main points in my paper, because I also had to write a paper as well. It it was to begin to humanize African American males, because according to history, we African American males, African Americans, were close to that image of the ape. And that was from the slave mentality. And it eventually grew into the media and, started, in Europe, that idea of that African Americans were very closely related to the gorilla, the ape. So,
yeah. And just like thinking about it, like that says a lot, right? Mm-hmm. And that's like a slur that comes out every now and then. Like I remember a couple of years ago, someone said that about Michelle Obama, right?
Yes.
What happened? Yes. It was just like, what?
Yes.
Like, how dare you?
Yeah. And then, and I think the New York Post even, there was a monkey in the New York Post, and they had Barack Obama next to this figure. And I just saw during those couple of years, wow, it's still out there, this image, this relation that people have to Black males and Black females, how they equate a monkey, a gorilla, an ape to African Americans. It's crazy to me. One of the things that happened while I was writing my paper and doing the project portion of the paper, I was in my phone, in my photos, and I had a picture of some of the young men that I was using for my project. And as I was looking at my photos, a monkey came up, and I showed my professor, and he's like, that's because of the algorithms. And I just thought that was strange how I had a picture of a monkey that I wanted to use for my project. And then I had pictures of one of the guys that I wanted to use, and how it made a comparison. And just asked me, are these basically the pictures that you're looking for? That was crazy to me.
Yeah.
That is crazy. I still have it in my phone. It's just, that really shocked me. And I wanted to reach out to Apple to talk to them about it, but I just never pursued it. But it was just something how, even in your phone, these algorithms, how they matched the monkey up with someone that I had in my phone. That's just crazy. That's just crazy.
It is. And it just goes to show you like how that thinking, how that narrative has existed for so long and actually perpetuated to our culture now.
Yes.
Like people like to say like, oh, things are better now. And I'm like, things might be better or they might look better, but it's just like, but look, like that algorithm is like proof that like this still exists. That sort of thinking Like it
Oh,
exists. It literally exists in this algorithm.
oh yeah,
What,
it
like,
exists. Yes, it exists in this algorithm, and it's still existing today. I mean, as you know, one of the things that I looked at was how police portrayed criminals, and when it came time, for Black criminals, there were some reasons why they thought it was a Black man. Well, because of this image of the ape that they already had in their head, how the ape is aggressive, how the ape is, the size of the ape. So when when it came time to arrest Black males, that was some of the reasons as to why they arrested them, because they had that image already implanted in their heads.
yeah.
Crazy.
And that's why, again, media means a lot.
Exactly.
It means a lot. It's years, like, I know some people don't watch TV anymore, but like realistically, so many of us like grow up watching TV. We grow up watching movies. Like those images, like you will still relate them to this day, like they affect you whether or not you know it. It's just like, it's all subliminal, but it's there. It's like, your eyes take in, even if it's just like, the Black criminal in the background and the focus is another character or whatever, like you're still getting that information. It's still going into your head.
Exactly.
You're still seeing it and registering it.
Right. So that's why
direct.
I'm sorry. Yeah. No. We that's why it's important for us to undo what is being placed out there and replace them with new images, new positive images. And we even have to be careful how we have to even undo some of those images and perspectives in real life, not only in, the entertainment sector, but in real life. We just have to do a better job of representing how we want to be seen by others.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. It's so interesting that you're saying that too, because it's, being on the other end, it's like also knowing that I have to do the work to be like, I have to be aware about what's being placed in front of me. I have to be aware of the fact that, again, I grew up in the era where a lot of Black men are just shown as criminals. I have to be cognizant of that. I can't just shut it away and be like, well, that wasn't real. It's like, no. I have to actually accept like that was part of my upbringing. So it's going to color the way that I see things now in different situations. And like, it's not a bad thing. It's like, okay, whatever. It just takes about like another 2 seconds for me to register and just be like, hey, Trixie, remember, like there's that lens going on and we have to undo that lens.
Right.
Like,
you're so wise.
Sure doing it. Yeah.
You're so wise. I mean, wow. It's just, you're speaking the truth. You're speaking the truth.
I just like love like listening to what you're saying, because like, like that's what I think. It's like those are those counterparts. And I love that it's just like everyone needs to do their work, and I feel like that's what people aren't understanding. Unfortunately, a lot of people take BLM as Black people want people to just like undo themselves. Like everyone else just needs to like we're just being attacked, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, that's really not what's happening. Like they just want to be seen as people, just like you want to be seen as a person.
Exactly.
Like they want their lives to matter as much as you want your life to matter. No one's trying to make anyone any less. That's not that's not what's happening. And unfortunately, people are taking it that way. And it's just like, again, I love that you're doing your project because it's so important. And also knowing too, like knowing the importance of like how media, like the fact that your stuff is on YouTube, like is a great access point for different people, especially younger people, right? Especially like there are people who are young now, super into YouTube, and that's great that your stuff lives on there, because that means it's like the younger people have access to that. Because even though TV is changing, but it's a slow change. But platforms like YouTube and stuff, like you really can make what you want to say.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a great platform. However, I just have to do a better job of promoting that. I'm going to get better. I I laid it down, but I'm still seeing that, it's still worth pursuing. It's very important. I think that this subject is never going to die. Um, it's never going to get old. So I have to do my part and really dedicate myself to promoting that message along with everyone else in my way. Yep.
And can you tell us a little bit about the first one without spoiling too much? I guess.
Oh, well, it's just what I said earlier. It's an ape, an image of an ape, and the gentleman that I use for that. What happens is when first when the image comes on, the voiceover talks about where the image began and how we need to progress from that image and represent the image of the Black male and in a new way, in our way, for us, about us. So that's the base. It's about 1 minute. It's very quick.
Nice.
But it captures the message. It's very dramatic. So, again, it's a baby project, so my work has gotten better. The concepts that I have in my head that I've written down, they're much better. They're much more mature, and more thought has been placed into those and into my baby vault of ideas that I have for I Change the Narrative. So again, it's a start. I did hire professionals. I hired a team to shoot it. I hired a professional voiceover gentleman, a guy that does voiceovers. So, and I paid them as well. So I was happy to do that. Yeah,
Yes.
I paid the video team to do this. So I'm proud of the work. I'm proud of the work.
Yes, and you should be. The fact that you had this thought how many years ago and you're still going towards it.
Yeah.
Like, congratulations on even just that. Because that's hard, to keep things going, especially now. Like, there's a lot. COVID already by itself is a lot.
Right.
And life is changing for so many people. It's changed for so many people. And the fact that you're like, no, this project is still important. Like, that, like, that's powerful. And that, like, showing you're showing yourself like this is important.
Right.
Like, going for it. And like, that's awesome. Just because, like, and I want to say that because, like, I know as a person who does content creating, it's so tiring.
It is
so tiring, and it's so hard, and it's so easy to get discouraged.
It is. And like I said before, I have to do a better job at promoting it because it is relevant right now. So I'm just going to get better at it. Seeing the news just sparks a lot of anger, right where we are right now in this pandemic, and seeing everything that's going on with Black males in the news. It's just very discouraging. And to be honest, like I said, I'm angry. So what are you going to do about it? So, I had to pick that up. I had to pick it up. Yeah.
Yes.
I had to pick it up.
Yes.
I wanted to do
angry.
The plan was to do a conference for 2020. However, we can't. So that was my plan as far as doing something different, because I want to capture all aspects of this project. not just media, but conferences, really do something and really have that discussion. And where do we go from here? After this project is done, now what can we do? How can we start putting fuel to this fire? But, I'll pick it back up once this all ends.
Yeah. And I totally feel you on like, I need to do a better job advertising my things. Cause that's the thing that's so hard that I think some people don't get either. Cause it's like we're creatives and doing content and stuff like is part of that. But also marketing is another thing, everyone. Like it's a whole other piece of the puzzle. And just you can have a whole job just marketing. Like that's the hard part. And so when we have to market our own things, like it does, like it gets a little harder. It costs a little more energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do a great job at, working for my clients, creating content for them. But when it comes time for me, that's where I'm missing. I'm missing it.
It's always harder when it's for yourself.
Yes.
It's so much easier. I have no idea why. It's just like switch in your head. It's just like, oh, I need to do all that. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. And then it's for yourself. You're just like, I'm going to go take a nap.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
But I mean, here you are and we're talking about it. So there you go. That's great stuff.
Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so much.
And I can't wait to see all the different videos and then like share them too. It's gonna
be great. Thank you.
So what are you focused on now then?
What am I focused on now? I'm just focused on my clients right now, to be honest with you. I have a plethora of pitching projects that I need to get out. I also just gained a new client. He is running for U.S. Congressman for the 17th District in Florida. So, right now that's my focus. And making sure that just his PR is taken care of. It's tight, it's right, because he has like 92 more days or 90 more days until it's time to vote. So that's my focus. And of course, all the projects that I have to do for the book projects that I have to do, pitching to agents, literary agents and publishing houses. So that's the focus right now.
For people who aren't so familiar with pitching, can you explain what pitching is and pitch writing is?
Okay. Pitching is when you are talking about something that you are passionate about and you want to get it out to the world, basically, to me. I take it because that's the line of thinking that I'm, that's my mode that I'm in when I'm pitching for my clients, getting it out to the world. How we're going to get this story out to the world. What is the quickest, most fastest, quickest and fastest, I know, synonymous. What is the most fastest way to get your message out to the publics? How are we going to do it? It's providing a hook that's going to reel your audience in. And all I can say about pitching is you have to, it's a gift. You have to have the gift of pitching. You have to have the gift of persuasion. You have to figure out why your product is going to, how your project is going to stand out amongst the crowd, despite someone that is doing the same thing as you. What's going to set you apart?
Yes.
That's what I ask my clients. What is going to set you apart? Sometimes they can't figure it out. So my job is to identify ways. Well, this is going to set you apart because, and that all comes through my research. I'm working with, well, I don't want to say, I don't want to give her, well, I'm working with an author right now. And she is writing mental health children's books. I did not know that there are several mental health children's books out. However, the thing that, as I was, helping her write her story, helping her to get the tone and the voice in her book, I noticed, as being a teacher, a former English teacher, I noticed that she had a different quality that I hadn't seen in other mental health books. What she has is she's infused STEM in her mental health books. She uses nature, not, real characters like a person. She uses nature to tell the story. So that's one thing that sets her apart.
Ooh.
She didn't even know that she uses STEM in her story. So since I noticed that, I had to configure her story. I had to really look up nature. I had to look up the way trees grow, the way flowers grow, the purpose of the sun and things the sun can do. And I learned all these different things for her book. And I was just like, okay, we can really push STEM. Why? Because we can, even though it has a mental health focus, we can place the, guidance counselors can work with their children using these books because they deal with, bullying and, finding your purpose at a young age and other communication issues that are going on between these things in the forest, these creatures in the forest. So that's what I use for her pitch. She uses, of course, social and emotional learning in her book as well. But that STEM piece was a really strong factor. If she were to use it, if a teacher was to use it in the classroom, they can look up, oh, well, what kind of tree was the author talking about? She was talking about a redwood tree. That's just an example. So I just researched a whole bunch of things that, could help her push this book. So hopefully the pitch is due September the 8th. So hopefully she'll have that chance to pitch it to, to give it to the literary agents and they'll like it. But pitching should be very short and to the point. It's not about the author. It's not about the person, but it's about the brand, basically, to bring it back home to you. Because I know I went off for a second.
Man,
but, yeah.
So your job is so interesting. That's so cool.
It is.
Again, this is why writing is hard, everybody. Do you see all that thought and research? Writing is not just sitting down and writing.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So it's very challenging, and I'm not lazy in my work. I really like to do the research for my clients because, for one, they don't have time to do the research, the in-depth research that I would like for them to do. So I do it, and I just really, really enjoy doing that for my clients. I really enjoy making them better, making their brand stand out. And I really enjoy pitching because I am a straight to the point person on paper.
Mm-hmm.
I like to get to the point, get in, get out. That's what a pitch is about. Get in, get out, make it sellable.
Oh man. And it sounds I just want to talk about it because it sounds simple, right? Pitching sounds simple, but it's just it's like when you're back in college and you're supposed to write this paper about something, but they're like, no, but you need to you only have 4 pages.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And running into the problems of but I wrote 10. And it's well, you gotta cut it down.
Yes.
Being succinct and to the point is actually really hard.
It is.
Especially because a lot of time you want to I need to give you but I want to give you more context. Mm-hmm. I want to give you more context. Yes. I want to preface this by saying da da da. It's nope, you don't get that. You literally have these couple sentences. Go. Right.
And to be honest with you, it took me, for her one book, she's submitting a total of 3 books, but for that one pitch, it took me all day to write because there's certain elements. I do my best. Everything that I do, every project, even the Congress, the soon to be congressman that I'm representing, everything has a story. That is the basis of my company. Behind every brand is a story. So from beginning to end, I'm looking to tell a story for that pitch. Yes, in the summary, I tell that part of the story, but in the bio part, the next paragraph of that pitch, yeah, I tie in her bio to that summary so that it can flow from beginning, middle to end. It's storytelling. And this is why it takes me so long, because you have to have the right words. I want to, hook them in. I want them to see why you should pick this book versus that book. And, choosing the right words, how when you're cooking, you have to have the right ingredients for it to taste the way you want it to taste. So I have to choose the right words, choose the right sentences to hook the readers or that team of literary agents. It's challenging. It's challenging.
It is. Again, I just, for everyone who's watching who hasn't tried to ever write a pitch or a hook for something, try it and try to do it with 2 sentences. Like a log line, dude. Oh my God.
Yes.
It's just tell me what this is about in one sentence, in one short sentence. And it's so crazy because, literary agents, but also just thinking about how people digest things now. People want it to be short. Our attention spans are so short.
Right.
Are so short now. Especially with reading, which is really unfortunate because reading is great, but especially with reading. And so, it is such a special skill. Yeah, it's so hard. It's so funny because right now I'm trying to come up with a log line for my short film and get on all that, and I'm just all of this is too long, and I'm not to the point. So how am I going to do this? But while still differentiating my story from other people's stories, right? That's the trick. It's because you have to be succinct to the point, but you can't be generic because then no one cares.
Exactly.
You're exactly. But then what?
Yes, you have to reel them in with the least amount of words as possible, but however, piquing their interest. So.
Gosh, it's so hard. Oh my God. Okay. I was like,
this is the the log line. That's what I do for others with scripts, and when you're writing treatments, that's what I help them to do. We sit and we talk, and then something may come and it's that's it. I help them write the log lines. I'm doing it now for a couple of projects of a group of us that are working on. So I know the feeling. Yeah.
So I would love to just be let's talk about your work, just because it's so hard. Again, writing is really hard, and it's so cool, and I love hearing you talk about it because you're so passionate about what you do, and you can hear it that you love what you do. You put your love into what you do, because people don't have to take that much time. I know this is technically your job, but people don't have to take that much time.
Exactly.
This is what you choose to do.
They don't. But if I'm going to live the things that I say on my website, excellence, I stand for excellence. I try to produce excellence in everything that I do. It takes that. It takes thought. I don't want to give clients any old thing because it represents me as well, So I'm just very careful about, I treat everyone's project as if it were mine. Yeah. I take ownership, because if I take ownership of the project, then I know that I'm going to give it 100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's integrity, everybody. Yes.
Yes.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. See, it's already been 50 minutes, right? Say what by really quickly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it goes by really quickly. So as we're getting towards the end here, just so I don't, I want to get back to I Change the Narrative a little bit before we end. So let me ask you, what are your goals for I Change the Narrative, and what would you love to see for that project? And like even if it's like fantasy wise, let's pretend that COVID doesn't exist right now. Like how do you see your project like in 3 years?
I would really like to see the first PSA that I developed. I would like to recreate that. I would really like to invest in making it a billboard in Times Square.
Oh.
That's what I would like. That's what I saw when I created that. I would
That's awesome.
Yeah, I would really like to see that, because Times Square would be the perfect place for people to just look up and really think about this issue. Mm-hmm. I would also like it to be a billboard in London.
That's cool.
I think big.
Big is good.
Yes, I think big. I've already had those thoughts. I would like to see it as a global campaign. That's where, and I know it has to grow. I am studying a couple of campaigns that have lived a long time. Mm-hmm. I'm still studying what they did to make the message last like it did. So that's what I see. That's what I see for that particular project. I really would like it to go big. I really would like it to have impact on the world, honestly.
Because billboards, it's like, I feel like maybe some people are like, oh, what a billboard, but it's like, the thing is, like, billboards, that's a visual thing that stays in your head.
Yes.
Like, you know, like, those are the memories. Like, I can still like imagine like billboards from like my childhood, and like there's also like billboards. Like, one of the things I think about is like the Chick-fil-A billboards and like the cows, like, and the chickens and stuff, and because it was just like, oh, that's super funny, and it's like that stuck in my head. Like, for how many years? And then, you know, like the smoking ads and stuff. Like, there's certain images that just stay with you for your whole life for different reasons. And so, like, a billboard is like really strong. And the Times Square thing, I love that. That would be really cool to see there.
Yeah, it would. It really would. And I just, for the purposes of just getting people to stop and think. I know it's a lot of noise in Times Square. However, I still want the voice to be heard. Mm-hmm. I really want the voice to be heard. I don't know how we would do that. Maybe, you know, some connection between the phone and the billboard. That could be it. I need to write that down. I need to write that down. So, you know, they can just tune in. Oh, I need to write that down. I really do need to
write it down.
But I just really wanted to illuminate the world.
Yes.
And it's all about impact. It's not about becoming famous. It's really about impact. It's really about ingraining this message in people's heads. That's what it's about. Impact.
Yeah. Dude, like, I can see it too, because like, how stunning would it to be like, here it is, like rustle bustle and everything, and then all of a sudden your image.
Yes.
And then like the ability to hear what's happening, and just like, it's such, like, when you describe it, again, I haven't seen the PSA though, but it's like, it's very clear and it's very vivid in my head, because what you're trying to say is very clear.
Right.
So that's really cool. And like you said, you know, like taking a moment for people to stop and think. And like, again, like that's really powerful. Like again, ads are really powerful because of that.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
that one idea getting your head over and over, you seeing
Right.
this thing everywhere, and it's like coming into your head, it's making you think. You'll
Right.
want to be like, what is that about? Like, is there
Right.
audio? Oh, there's a whole video. Like, I want to know more, you know?
Right. I beta tested it, before I posted it and before I presented it to my professors. And the Black men that I showed it to, um, some cried, some were blown away because it never really registered until they saw it, until they saw that image of the ape. And for this ape to change into a Black man, and the words with that image as it's changing, it's really powerful. It's really powerful. Just when you get a chance, yeah, go and look at it. Just tell me what you think. If you could email me and tell me what you think, I would really respect in it. Your input.
Yeah.
That would be great. Yeah.
It's so,
Yeah.
it just sounds
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you this one question before we come to our end.
Okay.
What advice do you have for writers who want to make an impact, like you want to make an impact, but are just like starting out, who want to say something but are just like, at the beginning of their journey? Like, what advice do you have for people?
First of all, I would say, don't seek out the opinions of others. If you have an idea in your heart that you're very passionate about, pursue it. Just do it scared. Make sure you plan, of course. Make sure you think it all out, but be careful with the opinions. Be careful with other people's opinions. Not everyone is going to support, not everyone is going to agree with your creative work or your creative idea, but pursue it anyway. You never know what can come out of it. Even if you're just doing it for the 5 people that have joined your YouTube page, do it anyway. It's going to impact someone, especially if you're passionate about it. That's the advice I would give to new creatives, new writers. Study the craft. Study your craft. I'm still studying my craft. I'm still reading articles every single day, picking up new things. Of course, you have to change with the times. So make sure you're not stuck in the old. And just move forward with what you want to do. Pursue it. Pursue it. Do it scared. Doesn't matter. Do it scared. That's what I would have to say.
That's such good advice. Like, and it's so funny because like I love that you said that, like, and pointing out like, yeah, like don't listen to other people, because it's so true, especially now. There are so many ideas that are just being thrown to the side, being called radical.
Right.
Or like that's not real, or that's not that doesn't make people feel good, or it's just like there's a lot of like dismissing around like new thoughts, and there always be. So thank you for saying that, because that's the thing that unfortunately will stunt innovators. Like people, it's good that people think of new things, and it's good that people think outside the box. And then like knowing like exactly like what you said, that like some people aren't going to agree with it.
Right. And you know what? Another thing that I would say is to connect with people that are like you. I'm a rebel. I'm crazy. I don't care. I think big. So if you're going to pursue a project, I would advise everyone out there to think big and pursue it. Don't come up with excuses. as to why you can't do it, there's ways around it. I saved for my project.
Mhm.
You know, I was in grad school going back and forth from PA to Maryland, Maryland to PA, whatever you want to, however you want to say it. Um, but I had, even though this was a project for school, I was thinking beyond that, you know? So get around people that are crazy like you, that have the same kind of, creative thoughts like you, they think out of the box. Um, Place yourself around individuals that are like you so that they can help you to get this dream off and running. That's it.
Yeah! I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
No
Thank you
problem.
for
Thank you.
coming on. Thank you for coming on. This has been such an awesome talk. This has been so fun. And again, like, shoot, I could just hear you. Like, I don't know if other people, like, because I just recently got into film, so I'm just
Okay.
like, oh my god, like, and writing is
Mm-hmm.
so hard, and like thinking about all those
It
things,
is.
it's so much. And it's
It is.
I could hear you talk about it forever. I know that's a different topic, so maybe not other people.
Okay.
But I really enjoy this and all the knowledge. Thank you for giving all your knowledge. Thank you for letting us into like your thoughts about your project, for sharing and being so vulnerable. It's been so great. I'm really excited to check out your project.
Thank
I'm
you.
excited to see what you do like next with
Yeah.
it. I'm so
Yeah.
excited. Yes. And so everyone watching this now and everyone who will be watching this in the future, please, like, there is her website scrolling down there. Also, on YouTube, iChangeTheNarrative is where you're going to
Mm-hmm.
find it.
Mm-hmm.
Her PSAs. So please have a look at that. Again, please consider scrolling down below. DD McClure, SD Bailout is San Diego's local bailout. Again, protests are still happening, even though the news isn't showing it. It doesn't mean it's not happening. They're still happening. So please consider donating to San Diego's bailout or your local bailout. There's also like the bailout project if you don't know where to go. And so they have those ongoing things. Yes, and just thank you everyone for being here. Guernica, again, thank you for being such a badass. Like, yes, awesome.
Thank you.
It's so great meeting you, and I hope you and everyone at home has a great rest of your night. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes. Bye.
Bye-bye.